What's up everybody? Today I'll be doing Guyanese style cheese rolls. It's one of my favorite pastries and it is super simple. All you need to do is follow some steps and you'll have beautiful results. First up, I'll be starting with the tools that I'll be needing. I have a KitchenAid fitted with a paddle attachment. You can also mix the dough by hand, but it will take longer. I have a heating element and a pot. I have a rubber spatula, a rolling pin, a pastry brush, a bench scraper. You can also use a knife, and I have a box grater and a sheet pan lined with parchment or silicone, and that's basically all the tools. Next up, I'll be starting with the pastry. The ingredients for the pastry dough will be flour, salt, sugar, butter that is very cold, eggs, and ice cold water. And that is very, very important if you want a nice flaky pastry. So I'll start by adding my flour, my salt and sugar, and I'll turn this to my lowest setting and let it mix around so everything is incorporated, and I'll bring you in closer so you see a close-up of this. So now that my flour, sugar, and salt is mixed together nicely, I'll turn this off. And I have my ice cold butter, and what I'll do is I'll cube this up. So after about a minute or two of mixing, this is what you get. You get nice little chunks in there, and that's what you're looking for. Nice little small chunks. So now I'll turn this back to its lowest setting. I'll add my egg. Let that mix in. And now I'll add my water slowly. So now that looks perfect. Your dough has come together. And now you're ready to roll this out. So now what I have here is some flour, and I'll dust my surface with it. And I'll take my pastry dough and I'll place it on there. And you want to work quickly with this because you don't want it to stick. And what I'll do is I'll dust some more flour. I'll dust my rolling pin and I'll start rolling this out. And you don't want your dough to be too wet. You just want it to come together. So if it's sticky, you have a problem. You don't want it to be too sticky. You want to handle it and your hands are not sticky. So that's pretty much it. As you can see, it's nice and smooth now and it's easier to roll. So what I'll do is I'll pop this in the refrigerator for about 15 minutes. If you want to leave it in there longer, it would be better, but 15 minutes minimum. So next up, I'll be making the filling for the cheese roll. First up, I have my cheddar cheese. I have whole milk, flour, Dijon mustard. You can use regular yellow mustard. I have cayenne and also paprika, scallions, and this is some egg wash for later on when you're brushing your pastry before it goes in the oven. And I have my box grater, so now I'll start grating my cheese. So that's basically it. All of my cheese is finally shredded. And I'm ready to make my paste. So now I'm ready to make my paste. I have my heat set at medium, and I'll add my milk, my whole milk. And I'll let this warm through before I add my flour. And that takes no time at all. So as this warms, I'm gonna add my flour. You wanna stir this around. You want to create a nice paste before you start adding your remaining ingredients. And you'll see how quickly this comes together. And I'll start adding my cheese. And I'll add a little at a time until everything is incorporated. And you want to keep an eye on the flame so you can see my pot is at a nice temperature and it's not sticking, it's just melting my cheese. And that's basically it. So I'll start adding my dry spices. And that's cayenne and paprika. Stir it in. And at this stage, you can turn your pot off. I'll add my Dijon mustard. And finally, I'll add my scallions. And by adding the scallions and all of those spices, now it smells super delicious. And that's basically it. Your cheese paste or your cheese filling is ready. On to the next step. So now I'm ready to roll out my dough. I have my dough, it's nice and cold, nice and chilled, and straight out of the refrigerator. I have my cheese paste, and I put this in a pastry bag so it's easier to work with. I have my bench scraper. If you have a knife, that's fine as well. I have a rolling pin and a fork to close off my cheese rolls. And to finish, I have some egg wash. Now I'll begin by placing some flour on my surface and some on top and some on my rolling pin. And I'll roll this out 10 widthwise, 10 inches by 18. Now what I'll do is I'll take my bench scraper and I'll close off the sides, try to pack it in so I can use all of my pastry dough. I don't want to cut any of it off so it looks nice and neat. So now I have my rectangle, which is approximately 10 inches by 18. So I'll cut down the middle. $12 nice sized cheese rolls. So I'll take my cheese filling and I'll fill these. All of my pastry has been filled. So what I'll do next, and it's very, very simple, just move these up right here. Take some of my egg wash, place it on one side, and then I'll roll this in. Make sure to get all the cheese filling inside of your pastry. And that egg is gonna seal the edges. Now I'll take some flour, press that in, and with my fork, I'll just poke it twice. And that is your beautiful cheese roll. And I'll place this on my tray and I'll continue. So here are my 12 cheese rolls. So what I'll do next is I'll place some egg wash on top of these. So now I'm going to place these in a 400-degree oven for 10 to 15 minutes. So here are the cheese rolls straight out of the oven. And I'll let these cool, and right now I have them on a cooling rack. And I'll let these cool for about 15 minutes before I dig into one of them. So here it is, your beautiful Guyanese style cheese roll. Please make this delicious recipe. I promise you will like it. Again, if you like my video, please give it a big thumbs up. Drop some comments below, and please, please subscribe. Now I'll try one of these cheese rolls. Flaky and nice, super cheesy. Really, really good.